Well, the clutch is ticking away. Time is ticking away because we have to be off the fishery in the next half an hour. Get in, get in, get in. We got him! Yes! That's the one. Look at that. That's the biggest fish of the trip. So here we are. This is Majestic Pool near Hull, and it's a place I'm fairly familiar with. I fished it quite a lot over the years, although admittedly nearly all them sessions have been in the summer. Right now we are at the back end of winter. It's the end of February, although temperatures, well, we couldn't ask for much better really. We've got double figure temperatures, a fresh southwesterly wind, although on the end of that wind you can tell it's still winter. It has got a bite to it. But first thing I'm going to do is have a walk around the pool, get myself reacquainted, and then I can make my mind up as to where I'm going to start this session. Round on the other side of that wind in your face, it does feel cold, whereas here it feels pretty comfortable, and I've got a great vantage point across the whole lake. So if any fish do show, I'm able to move on to them. But I think as a starting point, I think this is going to put me in a great position. Right, I can't wait to get started. Let's get the van unloaded. Well, as I was going back to the van to fetch the kit, I saw a swirl on the surface, and I half expected a coot to pop up because there has been a coot in that area, but one didn't. So it must have been a fish. It was just off to the right of the swim here in this slack bit of water, sheltered from the wind. And at this time of year, when the fish can become quite tightly grouped up together, the sighting of one fish can often mean there's other fish in the area. So I've legged it back to the van, come back. I'm just going to get a couple of rods set up quickly and just cast a single hook bait to where I saw that swirl on the surface. Last thing I want to be doing if there are fish in the area is causing any unnecessary disturbance by leading around and spodding, etc. So I'm just going to flick a single hook bait to where I saw that swirl. So I'm just tying a couple of rigs up quickly. It really is my standard go anywhere bottom bait wafter presentation. Super simple blowback rig. Hook bait is a ripple wafter, and then above the hook I've got a liner sleeve to help the hook turn and improve the hooking properties. Rig itself's only going to be 6 inches long, and that's it. Super simple rig. It's worked time and time again for me, and hopefully it's going to work again today. We've seen it too many times for it to be more than a coincidence, where the fish shows a preference to a pink hook bait over any other colour that's out there in the same situation. Later on in the season it can change, but end of winter into spring, pink would always be my number one choice. That's the second rod in position. There isn't much longer of daylight left. Didn't get here till mid-afternoon. I reckon we've got about 30 minutes of daylight left. I'm just happy with them 2 rods in position for now. I haven't really seen anything to go on as to where to put the remaining 3rd rod. So I'm quite happy just to have that set up, ready to go. And if I see any fish show as we move into dusk, I can put on a solid bag or a little mesh bag and cast towards it. But right now, I'm happy just to feel my way into the session, let the fish tell me where they are, and maybe I can adapt my approach as I move into the session. But for now, I'm happy just fishing singles and bags, just to try and nick a bite and also try and determine where the fish are. Right now, I'm just trying to create as little disturbance as possible. That's why I haven't resorted to using a leading rod or a marker rod. I'm hoping that the fish do give themselves away and I can focus my attentions on those areas. So at the moment, I'm just fishing single hook baits in areas where I've either seen a fish show like I have, or in areas that I've got a bit of a hunch. If nothing's happened by the morning, if I've not seen any carpy signs that have enabled me to track down the carp, then I'll maybe formulate a plan, get the leading rod out, try and find some areas of interest that deserve my closer investigation. But on smaller waters, I think no matter what time of year, keeping disturbance to a minimum is absolutely essential. So right now it's about inflicting as little disturbance on the swim, on the lake as possible. Well, we're off the mark. Look at that, holding his dorsal up as well. It may not be the biggest carp in the world, but at this time of year, I'll take what I can. We've got a beautiful, clean common of around 17 pounds, and it's certainly an encouraging start to the day. What's also encouraging is just after I landed this one, another fish showed in the same sort of area. So I've cast 2 single hook baits towards that same area. But let's just hope that this fish was the start of a early morning feeding frenzy. When I began this session, I started off just by fishing single hook baits. I just wanted to feel my way into the session. Didn't want to go heavy on the bait at first. I didn't want to put bait in one area and then move my rods and then have bait on other areas. I wanted to find the fish first and focus all my attentions in that area. Well, I've just had a fish this morning, and I've also seen a couple of other shows in that same vicinity. It's on the end of this wind, this southerly wind, which is pushing onto this no fishing bank, and the fish seem to be held up at the bottom of that marginal shelf where the wind is pushing. So now I'm quite confident to introduce a bit of bait, and this is the mix I'm going to be using. So the main ingredient will be red sea squid boilies, and I'm going to introduce these as crumbed baits. I don't want many whole baits. I want to break them open. They're a lovely soft bait anyway, but I'm just going to crumb up a few handfuls of bait just to release all the attractors, flavours, food signals. So there's a good few handfuls there of red sea squid boilies. Now I'm going to add some hot shrimp and liver PVA bag mix. Now this is made up primarily of tiny little pellets. You've got the hot shrimp and liver pellets there. There's also some nice powdered attractors in there as well. And next up, finally, just a few handfuls of casters. At this time of year, I do still like to use some natural bait, and I love casters. I just think they're a classic big fish bait. The crunch, everything about them, carp absolutely love them, and they're a great addition to a mix. So there we go, that's the finished mix. It's primarily red sea squid boilies. There's a few handfuls there of the hot shrimp and liver bag mix, and there's just a smattering of casters in there as well. It's a lovely mix, and I'm hoping that's what's going to turn this session around. This was totally out of the blue. This is the same rod that produced the fish last night. It's been quite bright, sunny today. I'm just beginning to think, you know, I'm not really feeling it for a bite today. And the bobbin just smacked up against the rod and playing our second carp. And this bite came about not long after introduced half a dozen spawns of bait over the top. So that change in tactics has produced a really quick bite. Get in, get in, get in, get in. Got him! Yes! That's a bit bigger than the first one. Right out the blue, middle of the day, just after a top up with bait as well. Yes, I feel like we're heading in the right direction now. Here we are, second fish of the session, and we're getting bigger. This one is a smidge under 23 pound, and this bite came just 15 minutes after a change of tactics. Just a short while after spomming out some bait, the rod was away with this fella. So let's hope that's the start of things to come. But if not, I'm quite happy with this for now. I'll just pop back to the van to get some more bait. I just thought to myself, you know what? I reckon these fish are up for a bit of bait. And they definitely are. Playing the third fish of the session now. It's just gone over the back of a bar. I feel it grating. Now he's moving. He's coming, he's coming. But after I had that second fish that fell to a better bait, I decided to top up the other spot I've been fishing with a few spawns of bait. And again, just 15-20 minutes after a hit of bait, and that rod's away. Yes, got him. There we go, we're rocking now. Well, a double change of tactics with that fish, change of rig, change of bait and approach. Fish in the bag, that'll do. Well, fish number 3, and we've got a fin perfect common, a 21.5 pound, and I did say this came about after a change of tactics. When I refreshed that right hand rod, when I reeled it in, there was quite a lot of blanket weed covering the rig, so I changed over to a low lying hinge stiff rig, again with a ripple hook bait, but this time a pop up, just topped up with 5 or 6 spawns of bait over the top. 15 minutes later it rattled off with this. Right, let's slip him back. Hopefully we can do the same again. There she goes. Absolute magic. Well, I've just slipped back that 21 pound common. The rod's still out the water. But before I had that fish, I just repositioned my middle rod, which hasn't done anything, and I moved it just to the left of the rod that had done me 2 bites. And this hasn't been in the water. 20 minutes maybe? And this rod's away. Get in. There we go. That's probably the smallest fish of the session. Around 16 pounds, something like that. I'm just gonna
slip him straight back. I'm really keen to get that rod back out there on that spot. I think there's another chance of a bite before dark. But yeah, this session is going really well, better than I could have ever have imagined. Right, thank you very much. Let's get you back.
Well, today's been a real turn up for the Bucks, really. It started off with that 17-pound common just before first light. That fell to a single hook bait. And from there, I saw a couple of fish show in the same sort of vicinity. But I think the real game changer has been the introduction of the bait. Once I got some bait onto those spots or into the areas where I felt the fish were, that's when things really switched on and ended up with 4 fish by the end of play today. So clearly the fish are responding to the bait, they're responding to the hook baits, and going into tonight I'm feeling pretty confident. I think I've been quite unlucky with the size of fish though. 2 doubles, 2 20s. There's so many big fish in this lake. I do feel a little hard done by that I haven't had one of the better fish, but hopefully all that's going to change tonight.
Well, good morning. Last night was a really quiet night. I thought after yesterday's activity late into the afternoon it would have continued into darkness, but nothing at all. The bobbins have remained absolutely motionless. I'm not seeing anything. I didn't see anything show last night, didn't hear anything showing. Woke up this morning just as light was breaking, and it's very quiet. It's a very grey kind of nothing type of day, but the sun is set to break through. Hopefully that will spark a wave of activity. The bobbins will be dancing and we'll round up the session with a big fat carp. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen. Well, it can't have been more than 2 minutes since I was sat on my bed chair saying, haven't seen any carpy signs. It's been a really quiet night. Really grey, miserable start to the day. And then the bobbins just smacked up against the rod. And out of the blue, we're playing a carp. I've been quite concerned going into this session. Felt like I had lots of curses that needed lifting. One of which being the new rod curse. Whenever I've got some new rods in the past, it's often taken me a few sessions to cast on them. Anyone else suffer from a new rod curse? And best of all, I've lifted the curse on all 3 of them. There he is. There he is. Get it. We got him. Yes! Look at that. That's number 5. That's mental. Can't grumble with that at this time of year. Right, let's take a look at him. Well, what a way to brighten up what's a pretty grey, miserable start to the day. That's fish number 5. Never expected to be saying that before this session. But there we go. There isn't long left though, but there is still time for another bite. But if nothing else happens, I'll certainly be leaving Majestic Pool a very happy carp angler.
Time is ticking away, the clutch is ticking away. We have to be off the lake in the next 20 minutes. I was hanging on to the death. I just so fancied another chance of a fish, especially after yesterday's sort of flurry of activity. This almost certainly will be the last fish, if we land it, of this session. I don't want to big it up just yet, but it does feel like a better fish. Closer, he's getting closer. Get in, get in, get in, get in. We got him, yes! That's the one. Look at that. That's the biggest fish of the trip. What a way to cap off what has been an absolutely brilliant session. It really has exceeded all my expectations. This one is an ounce shy of £29. 6 fish hooked, 6 fish landed. I really don't think I could ask for anything more. This has been one hell of a session. One that I will remember for quite some time. An absolutely fin perfect, pristine common that is. And a brilliant way to cap off this fantastic session. But it's time we were hitting the road. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.